The way we are doing Candid Cinematography Adda season 2, if you go through 2 or 3 videos of this, and if you have worked with cinematography for a long time, you will see that you are relating to a lot of things. You can relate to a lot of things. You can, go through your past experiences. You can go through your inspirations. You can go through things you like to do. And you will see that you will come up with innovative ways to light a scene, to compose a scene. Few things I want to mention in episode 3, that is the joy of cinematography. The joy of cinematography should pull us towards cinema. But you have to understand one thing. For many people, it is just the cinematography that is bringing them to cinema, right? So that's why a lot of glossy filmmaking, a lot of all these things are there. You have a camera. It is like, why people are doing that? People are doing that because they have a camera. Now they have a camera, and they want to capture something. But one thing is the functionality of the cinematographer, and one thing is the art of the cinematographer. We talk about the art of the cinematography, art of cinematography, and preferences are there, but you should have some art. The usage of color, whether you should use color or not, that is also a big thing. And it has its pros and cons when you are using color, because creative usage is one thing when you are using colors. Many people are not comfortable with colors or making use of colors, and sometimes you will see that many people are using particular color to accentuate the dramatic storytelling. We will see that stylistic choices we are making, still it is not over the top for that particular story. So we have played with all these experiments. We have seen all these kinds of storytelling where people are playing with colors, people playing with the colors and cinematography, what it can do. And meaning and symbolism, obviously with color you can play with the meaning, depth of it, and then symbolism and all these things. It can be a symphony of colors, orchestrated. It can be very minimalistic. You are using a particular tone to have a particular mood, and you are depicting something in a scene, and that particular scene is requiring something. Sometimes throughout the entire film you have some kind of consistency of look or consistency of mood which is desired, and scenes are changing, things are changing, but you should see that we are telling the story, we are progressing through the story. Sometimes we are looking at a scene which is very dark, then we are shooting in available light. Maybe we are going to the particular location and we are shooting something. Then we have artificial lights, and then you have your available light, and we have a mix of that, but that is conveying something. And how you are using color, so that is one thing. And then shadows can tell a lot of things, and then how you're playing with lights. And black and white, some people are drawn towards black and white. Some people think that is classy. Some people think it is offering you less distraction. Some people are comfortable just by choices, by way of doing it. They prefer to choose black and white. And if you are into cinematography, if you are into filmmaking, if you are into photography, you will see that sometimes you will be drawn towards black and white, sometimes you will be drawn towards color, and you will have your particular preference to shoot in a particular movie. And for a particular movie you can choose to do that. Maybe the entire film is shot in black and white, and what kind of black and white you are doing, that can be a big thing. You are playing with the shades of gray, white, and black, and all these things. And if I talk about light, you will see that we can talk about angle of light, we can talk about the intensity of light, we can talk about the quality of light, harsh light, hard light, soft light. We can talk about all these things. Then color, and the effect it is having creating that mood, telling that story. And as I mentioned, you have the functionality of a cinematographer. A cinematographer is playing the part of a technician. He or she is working with other technicians. They are doing their job, But there is an art in cinematography. We are talking about the art in cinematography or art of cinematography, because you will see that sometimes it's just a feeling. You have to have certain kind of, mood for this particular movie. It should look like that. It should feel like that. That's why you are choosing to do the cinematography in a particular way, and it comes from a lot of different choices, but sometimes it's just you want to tell the story in that way. So how you are choosing all these things. And philosophy, when we talk about philosophy, obviously there is a lot of philosophy involved. So as I mentioned, it is not just a camera. When it is an equipment, it is offering you something technical, It has its own things, because nowadays we are working with digital, so you will understand a lot of things that goes into making a camera. And when we have worked with films and emulsions, you will see that we have seen there too, what kind of depth, color, and how we are playing with all these things. And so people who have worked with it, they know what it feels. Sometimes just looking at the film, and whether you use a flatbed or Moviola or those kinds of editing machines, you will look at the film and how you are cutting the film. Those things used to give you the magic of filmmaking. Now in digital world, we have a lot of cameras. Cameras are easily available for a lot of people. We have a lot of cameras. People are using a lot of cameras. They are buying a lot of cameras. But ultimately it comes to the storytelling. So something will never change, that is the storytelling. And you are depicting life, you are capturing life, or you are constructing life. So that is one thing, because what we see on screen. Now one thing we can talk about the screen reality, then the screen coverage. Screen reality, what you are seeing on screen. Then you have the screen coverage, how you are talking about screen coverage, how you are doing the screen coverage. I have mentioned it in different ways, that is more practical. But if I have to use a particular term, you can use that, to give you some idea how you are doing screen coverage and screen reality. Then obviously, why you are choosing to do this particular movie. Sometimes it is because of other people, because of the director, sometimes it is because of the team, sometimes it's because of the story you want to tell. That is why you are drawn towards this particular film, because you want to tell this particular story. And you have this world of the story, diegetic world, and you are having reality, hyper reality, then you are reconstructing the world of that particular story, and you are choosing to do a lot of things, in between, how you are choosing to do a particular kind of cinematography, color, and still it is telling the story. A lot of nuances there. And drama, we cannot take it for granted, drama, and that intensity of it, that depth of it, and how we are playing with the things that is helping you compose the scene, elements of the composition, and you are talking to the art directors, production designers, and what to put in that particular scene, how to choose to shoot in this particular way. And metaphors, visual metaphors, because if you talk about stylistic choices in language or ornamentation, whatever we talk about, you will have that visual language, and that visual language will have its metaphors, it will have its things you can play with. So how you are choosing to do that, we can play with that a lot. And many people are reactive, many people are just trying to do something based on reactions, and that's a common thing you will see nowadays. But there is also responsible filmmaking. When you are making the film and people are following you, because they are looking up to what they are going to expect, what they are going to see, and what they are going to enjoy in that particular movie. So spatial depth I have already talked about. So foreground, midground, background, and how you are designing that depth. And you will see that I can do a board session tomorrow. I can show you something is there in the background, and then something is there in the midground, then something is there in the foreground. How you are choosing to shoot in particular ways. If something is not there, you are putting it. If something is already there, how you are composing it, then how you are lighting it, and all these things, you are designing the depth. And aspect ratios, if I talk about aspect ratios, Academy will give you something, widescreen will give you something, anamorphic will give you something, and you are choosing to do the particular thing in a particular way. And if you, so many people will prefer to do anamorphic and how it is affecting depth, you can go for that. So sometimes people will go for 4:3 because that particular story is requiring to tell the story in a particular way. So again, it will, the things you are expecting from the story, the emotional aspect of it, how audiences are going to, how people are going to perceive it, how people are going to enjoy the story. All these things are there. The joy of being a curious person, watching cinematography, looking at things. And sometimes you are moved by the scene or moved by that particular moment of the story, and you try to figure out how it was shot or how it was captured, because it has a great effect in the story. Then you figure out with your own imagination, with your own experimentation, that you are creating something that is not been created before. So you are putting your imagination and everything. And the thing is, I will tell you one thing. Some people think that they can talk about art appreciation, which they don't. Some people think that they can talk about criticism, which they don't. They don't understand that much. But they think that they can talk about art appreciation. So when these people will show you a lot of confidence, we tend to make mistakes. So the problem is, because it is something very serious. When we talk about art, it is something very serious. So it is not like that this is the particular thing that if we talk about it, we will sound smart. If we have read it somewhere and we can compare that we have read it in that thing, so that means that is very important. Otherwise we don't put any importance in that. Sometimes people will tell you that they understand art, they appreciate art, but if you know how to ask the pertinent questions or relevant questions, you will see that they don't understand much. But whenever you are talking about art, they will show that they understand art. They project that confidence. So when something is relatable, they have read it somewhere, maybe a term, maybe a little thing, a line or phrases, a phrase, or maybe a quote, they have read it somewhere. They will say that with a smile or with a confidence, they will say that can be a great thing, and you will start to realize that person understands it. Sometimes maybe they do, but you have to understand all these things, because this art is a very serious thing. When we talk about serious thing, cinematography, dramatic storytelling, narratives, how we are constructing the story, how we are showing it on screen, how we are bringing people, the right people, the right kind of collaboration, so that we can tell the story in the best possible way. When we do all these things, you will understand that we know. Sometimes we get frustrated, and it is not a bad thing. Sometimes we get frustrated that kind of confidence we can see, but we have done this, we have done all these things, we have seen all these things, then that kind of confidence is so much that we cannot relate to it. So we should not get too much persuaded by that kind of confidence. Rather, we should believe in art. We should believe in what cinematography can bring, what storytelling can bring, what all we have seen so far. That curiosity towards experimentation, that curiosity towards a new way of telling a story. Maybe the script is there, but always we are improvising if it is needed. We are faced with a lot of different choices. We are choosing this with a lot of curiosity or a lot of experimentation. We have a lot of curiosity, we have a lot of experimentation, but whenever we are choosing this particular thing, that has come after a lot of things. So that confidence alone or that particular thing should not deviate us from telling a great story and providing entertainment, if I say so. So in terms of acting, it can happen, because some people will say that people are liking that can be the norm, that can be the thing. With acting, you can do that. Sometimes the conversation, apart from filmmaking, that can be so confident, you can understand that person may be understanding a lot of things regarding acting. Sometimes we can learn from all these things. But for our particular story, for our particular movie, or for movies in general, the reason we have liked cinema, the reason we wanted to do cinema, the reason we wanted to tell the story, the reason we wanted to make the film look like this particular way. So all these things are there, So then what we can do is, we can trust that. We can trust that, and we can play with a lot of things. Because whenever people will play all these games and they will show this confidence, you can talk about something really serious and they will pick up phrases from that, and they will play politics, they will play all these games, And sometimes you will see that when we talk about cinema is serious business or art, whatever you choose to call it. But there is art, there is business, And when we respect that, we respect the entire thing. And that kind of thing, however confident it can be, should not take us away from storytelling. So we talked about cinematography in the last 2 episodes. We talked about the things, because if I talk about art, if I talk about the technical elements of cinematography and all these things, it is not just sounding good. It is not just, something theoretical. It is not just we are talking about things because we want to understand that, we want to listen to that. It is not like that. It is like we can relate to it in terms of storytelling, in terms of cinema. We have actually looked at a film in a great way. We have experienced a cinematic thing, a cinematic experience. We have experienced it, and then we can relate to it. We have gone through it thoroughly. We have studied it. We can relate to it. Then we are talking about how we can arrange all these things in a composition, how we can talk about the movements, how we can talk about continuity, how we are talking to the art directors, how we are talking about production design, how we are talking about, what is in that frame, and how we are choosing different elements of that story, so that we are putting things together. Sometimes we are putting it here, sometimes we are testing so that we can put it there. What effect will it have in terms of storytelling? All these things we can play with, because that is the fun of making a movie. Sometimes this is the thing, we are putting all the dailies together in an editing table and we are done with the job. That is not editing. If I talk about editing too, if I talk about the art of editing, sometimes we are playing with that particular shot and we are putting it here, we are putting it there. Sometimes we feel like putting it there. Sometimes just out of curiosity, we are doing it. We are putting it here, we are putting it there, because we know that we can come up with something really great, and we are open to experimentation and innovation. And then we have the cinematography, we have the editing, we have that experimentation, we have that fun, we have that curiosity, and then we have the performances, because we are expecting the actors to give their best performances. We want to nurture the actors, we want to nourish the actors, so that they can understand like things about life, they can understand life, they can understand performances. Sometimes they understand themselves through that performance. Then capturing it, how they are looking. Sometimes they couldn't even understand how they could, look like that in a particular performance. So, giving things about life, about a particular situation, and, leading to bigger questions, fundamental questions, and all these things. a lot of things we can introspect on. And that is what, the curiosity, the fun part, and we are playing with it, then we are